Mel Buttle, welcome to the weekend briefing. I want to start off by checking in on something you shared. And I
Oh.
think it's really important because 4 years ago, you made a very brave public admission about a
Uh-oh.
condition that, technically is not necessarily considered an actual medical condition,
Oh,
but let's
being
go with
gay,
it.
is that it?
No, that's not the
Oh,
one.
no,
That's
okay.
not the one.
Sorry, yeah.
Suffering from checkout queue rage.
Oh, yes. No,
Do, do you
yeah.
still have those fits?
I struggle. I find the voices build up in my head when someone is told the total of their groceries and then they begin to search for a payment method. You've had ample opportunity to get that FPOS card in your hand or to count the cash or open your phone up. Do not wait until the 14-year-old has scanned everything and then go, right, let's see if we've got any money on this card. Sorry, you've had time. Yeah, I think I still do. I push it down now. I push it down. Also, I'm there with a toddler. So I'm
Yeah.
on the
There's
clock.
so much to be angry about.
Oh, there's heaps to be angry about, Antoinette. Checkout rage, yes. Trolley rage, people who just stop in the middle of the aisle and wander over and pick up something and have a look at it. Move to the left. It's the same as driving.
Yeah, but I have a different sort of trolley rage.
Yes.
Why do I need a token to spend money in your store?
Oh, here we go.
Give me the bloody trolley without a hindrance, without a barrier. I'm here to spend money in your shop. That really makes me angry.
I agree. My local shopping centre has 2 shops in it that both require a trolley token. And, oh boy.
The injustice.
The rage I feel when I'm forced by my own hand to go to that shopping centre because I'm too lazy to drive to the bigger one. I don't really say anything or have any plans to fix it or actively work on it. I just walk around going, constantly at anyone who'll look at me. Yeah, that does drive me nuts because I think I'm good. I'm going to take the trolley back. I'm a trolley returner. Why am I punished? Why am I treated like a trolley stealer?
Yeah, I don't put you I don't imagine you'd be a trolley thief. But anyway.
No, I fear authority greatly.
And in happier news,
Yes.
you couldn't marry Hayley Russo, so you married your partner instead earlier this year.
Yes. Yeah.
Is that happy news?
Sure. What really ground my gears, Antoinette, is when the beautiful, the divine, the most stunning woman in the world, the star of the Matildas, the Gold Coast girl, Hayley Emma Russo, finally replied to an Instagram comment of mine after the wedding.
Oh, no. Another grave injustice.
You see how hard my life is, Antoinette? You see how I struggle? I was thrilled to have Russo reply after my constant love-hearting everything she does and trying to be supportive and keeping it under wraps, not too creepy, just supportive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to write beautiful in all caps on her posts, as many people on Instagram do not hold themselves back from, but I try and be reasonable and just come off as a normal person who's pretty cool. And the shrine that we have is actually normal as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got married to the misso back in March.
But you do keep your private life quite private. There was a picture of you in a wedding dress, but
Yes.
or half a picture of your wife in her wedding dress.
Mhm.
Is that because you want to protect your family or you didn't want anybody to have to make a decision as to who looked better in the wedding dress?
I'll tell you the genuine answer, Antoinette, because I trust you, and then we'll decide if we're going to edit this out at the end. This might be a bit spicy. but
Okay.
one of the main reasons I'm so protective of my wife and my son, I think the protections around my child are more obvious. Like, he didn't ask to be on the internet. He doesn't. He has no choice in it. That's different. The reason I protect my wife so harshly is because she comes from a family who do not accept her sexuality,
Right.
and they have disowned her. And there's some publications around the society we live in that whenever I put anything on Instagram, turn that into an article and publish her full name, and then her family who's cut her off become very angry and ask, why don't I just call Google and ask Google to take it off the internet?
Yeah,
So
okay.
that's the underpinning reason that I've never really said publicly, but you seem like a nice girl, Antoinette, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But now we've sort of grown up. Now that we have Harry, our son, we're like, well, this is our family now.
Yeah.
Why should we live in shame and fear?
Yes.
Why don't we just post our happiness and own it? And I never used to say her name publicly. Her name is Naran. That's her name. So we're kind of in the middle of turning the tide on how we deal with media around the relationship.
That is tricky and awful and unfair, and I'm sorry you have to experience that. And I'm also sorry that I reduced it to you being competitive as to who looks better in the bridal dress.
No, I mean, if I had my time again, I would probably wear a different dress. I was stinkingly hot. It was a full sleeve length number. Just picture what you'd wear if you were going on a picnic at Hanging Rock. That's basically the vibe of the wedding dress that I had. I would probably maybe wear something different now, but yeah, so that's why I keep her fairly private. But I think that is changing. I think that family aren't going to come around anytime soon and be like, oh, all good. But I was trying to not fan the fires of their disappointment by getting certain articles published, etc. But
well, let's rewind a little bit to teenage Mel, because you got your first job in Woolies in the deli, and your little secret was to sprinkle extra seasoning on the hot chooks. Are you still a chooks enthusiast? Are you still do you like to cook?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes. I love to cook. I find that if you're cooking, you don't have to look after the toddler, because you can be like, he can't come in here, it's too hot. Can you have him for a bit? Oh, dinner takes hours. Hours, Antoinette.
This spaghetti bolognese, like 3.5 hours.
Yeah. I do love to cook. I brine. I don't know how much of a food podcast this is, but I brine chicken.
Yeah,
which really locks in the moisture. I'm not a chef. I'm just an amateur enthusiast, like the rest of us, who learns things from Nigella Lawson. Brining a chicken breast really takes it up a level. Like if you're having people over, I'd recommend maybe just brine a whole roast chicken before it's roasted. Brine it.
All right. So brine it is when you cook it on both sides on the stovetop before you pop it in the oven.
What? No. Okay. Have you eaten any food before, Antoinette? All right, I'll start slower. Okay. Brining is a kind of a process whereby you take a raw piece of meat and you put it in a salty, sugary, acidic solution.
Oh, okay. I have never done that before.
You're a busy lady. I'm trying to chew the days up over here. So I will make cooking a chicken breast a 6-hour exercise. So it locks in moisture. So you think it would do the opposite, putting it in with some salt and some sugar and some vinegar, some herbs, some spices would maybe dry it out, but it just makes it delicious. Brine your chicken if you do a roast chicken. That's my advice.
So brining is soaking it in those things.
Yes.
Okay.
So you know when you buy olives and they're in brine?
Oh, right.
That's what brine is.
Oh,
so we're putting meat.
Tuna in brine when you buy a can of tuna.
Here we go. I found the level of the room.
Yes.
Yeah, tuna in brine. Yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's where we're at. Okay.
That's where we're at.
Okay. So you're working in the deli section, and I'd imagine you would have dealt with some interesting characters, because there's a whole lot of politics in the deli queue. Is that where you had to develop a sense of humour and the little comedian evolved?
Yes, breaking the tension of accidentally serving the wrong person and dealing with that, because Australians aren't very forthright. You can say, "Who's next, please?" And a man will go, "I'm next." So you go, "Great, I'll serve you." But there's someone else to the side who thought they were next, who was fuming. So you've then got to deal with them. You've got to take them emotionally to a place where they're not mad about buying 250 grams of shaved champagne ham. The deli, there was a particular lady who we had a nickname for. We called her Freshly Sliced. She would come in as we were about to close. The whole doors to the shop are 3/4 closed. No one's in there. They're doing announcements. Ding, 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 customers, please make your way to the checkouts. It'd be 4:59 and she'd roll up to the deli, which was mostly packed up, and she'd say, "Hello, can I please have 300 grams of sliced mortadella, and can it be freshly sliced?" Which
What's the opposite of freshly sliced?
already in the cabinet. So she didn't want the cabinet mortadella. She wanted us to go out the back to the fridge, get the whole log of mortadella.
So posh when you want the freshly sliced mortadella.
Very posh. Put it on the slicer that had already been cleaned, that is a nightmare to clean, that is sharp. I still have a scar on my index finger from a cleaning incident. Cleaning the slicer is probably one of the worst jobs in the deli. But yeah, no, she didn't mind, and she was the customer, and the customer was always right, and she wanted a freshly sliced mortadella, and so you would give it to her, and then what would happen is you and the team would bond. That was the best, was letting off a bit of steam about her having a vent in the fridge, implying what she might do with that freshly sliced mortadella was untoward. That's part of it. It does. I suppose a sense of humour comes from there. It's earlier though. It's really.
Oh, it's earlier than that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably. My favourite thing was to watch the following shows: Full Frontal, which became was called Fast Forward, then it became Full Frontal. Big Girls Blouse, the spin-off with Jane Turner, Gina Riley, Magda, Mark Downey. And the Melbourne International Comedy Festival Gala. I was allowed to stay up late to watch those programs because I enjoyed them so much, and the next day I would act out the things I'd seen. I'd walk around pretending to be Judith Lucy, and it just made people around me happy. But also the next layer is embarrassment avoidance. I think that's why I got into comedy, is I'm going to say what you're going to say about me before you can say it, so I own it. Because I know I've got curly red hair. I look like Ronald McDonald. Later on, it was Pauline Hanson, Annie. So I'm going to have a few little zingers prepared around that, so I control the laughter about those comments.
Right.
So I think that's kind of where it started from.
That's a bit sad.
Oh, I don't know how deep we're going to go. I don't know if you're going to Yana vent me on this podcast.
Yeah, do you want me to? Do you want me to
You
peel under the
you
layers of her? I've got the real story. Mel Buttle,
Yeah.
like you've never seen before. Du-du-du.
I'll give you exclusives.
Yeah.
I don't mind. Because,
Okay.
I'm kind of... I think comedy actually comes from trauma. And everyone not everyone, sorry. A lot of people think, oh, you must have been the class clown and very outgoing and confident.
Yeah.
Oh, no. I didn't speak at school until I was probably 11. I didn't have a single friend. I was in the library with the librarians reading books. Then I was a library monitor. I was just observing. It's the absolute opposite. I'm incredibly shy, anxious, a very quiet child. And then one day it all just comes out, I guess.
And so humour was a way to be seen, a coping mechanism, a way to, I guess, lessen the blows of the bullies, because you would make people laugh about. So it's self-deprecating humour, essentially.
Yeah, pretty self-deprecating. It was never at the expense of other people until kind of maybe high school, where I had a much better time than primary school. And I realised, just to my little group of friends, if I did a little impression of the PE teacher or the deputy principal, they would really love that. And then one of those girls would go up to the cooler girls and be like, hey, do you know Mel can do Mrs. So-and-so? And then they'd be like, yeah, do it. Do it for show her. And then I'd do my impression of whatever.
Yeah.
And then they would be like, oh, you've got a use. Okay, you're kind of tolerable. That's interesting. Oh, that made me happy. So it was always a way to smooth things socially, I think, because I didn't have a lot of other skills going on as an only child. Yeah.
Mel, I was also a library monitor.
Jeez, no way.
I would have been friends with you. I was also, this will shock you, I was also very unpopular.
What?
Because mine was facial hair and a moustache and a monobrow. And acne and love to study, and yes, and so I would have been in the library with you and we would have become friends, if that's any consolation.
Such a safe space, isn't it, in there?
Librarians are the best. They're the unspoken heroes of society.
Oh, they'd slip me books that they thought I would enjoy. Like if a new Robin Klein came in, Mrs. Porter would be like, "Here, run your eye over that one. Not out for general release yet." I'd be like, "Thank you, we've got each other's back in here."
Oh.
There's sort of a it's like a den, you know, when there's a storm and dogs need to go in their crate.
Yeah.
That was me with the library. I was like, "Oh, I need to be in here in between the bookshelves. It's kind of dark and quiet. No one can get me in here." Although some people did come in once and put a pin through a chair and then say, "Hey, we want to talk to you. Why don't you sit down on the chair?" And I sat down and I felt the pin go into me. But I just pretended I didn't.
What moles? That's awful.
Oh, absolute moles. This is primary school though. High school was very, very nice. I had a great time in high school.
Do you still go to libraries? Because I love my local library.
I do. I do go to the library because I refuse to buy a printer. So it's just easier, Antoinette, to drive down to the local library, bring your card, log into the system, book a computer, log into your email, and then go over to the printer and enter your library card number into the printer and bring your 20 cents. And it's just straightforward. It chews up more of the day.
It makes sense for you. I want to talk about your character, Lynn.
Yes.
Because I can't help, now that I've heard how much time you spent in the library, and there was a particular type of woman, usually a woman, that was a librarian.
Yes.
Is there anything in librarians that influenced Lynn?
Lynn is just so first of all, the voice of Lynn, how she sounds is to me a slightly exaggerated version of how my mum sounds.
Lynn sounds like me to my children. I grew up in Western Sydney, so I take issue with how much of a whinger I am because I hear myself in Lynn.
Well, yeah, that's the sound of that is my mum, she's also from Western Sydney. But my mum, upon hearing Lynn, is like, "I do not sound like that. I'm not a Westie. Don't call me a Westie because I'm not. No, Westies are further out than me." I'm like, okay. Sure. So the sound is my mum, but the things Lynn does and how she reacts is, some of it is my mum, but a lot of it is just women that you encounter. It's medical receptionists. It's librarians. It's the woman at the chemist who looks down her nose at you over her glasses. It's friends' mums in high school. I realised everyone had the same mum. Everyone's mum would react. So I have allergies. I'm allergic to eggs, peanuts. So whenever I'd go to a friend's house and I told the mum this, all the mums would freak out the exact same way. Whether they were a CEO, a housewife, they would all just go, "Oh, you can't have eggs. Oh God. Oh no. Have you had an egg this afternoon? Oh, was there egg in your Vegemite sandwich?" They would all just have this breakdown. I was like, "Oh, that's weird that there's some programming that you all just respond the same way to this stimulus." But I did sometimes with Lynn, how Lynn started, Antoinette, was I thought it would be not as liked. I thought it might upset women who were like that, and they would be like, "What a toxic portrayal, how untrue." But somehow, because they can see themselves maybe for once in pop culture, women who are like Lynn are on her side and they stand up for her and they're like, "Exactly right. I'm sick of coming home on holidays and there's mess everywhere." I'm like, "Oh, you're not seeing that I'm kind of mocking you a little bit here. You're seeing that you're represented and you think Lynn's right." Maybe Lynn is right. I don't know. Sometimes she is, I think.
I love that. And obviously, as you say, Lynn has resonated with so many. I adore Lynn and watch all of her clips. Do people sometimes want to hang out with Lynn and not you?
Yes.
You took a breath before you said that. You were like, yes, Lynn is more, yes. We're still having these popularity issues.
There's a lot of, I've learned to just enjoy it, but I found it very hard when Lynn was kind of starting out, where I'd put up something that I did as myself, like a TV appearance or something, and someone would write, "Yeah, but where's Lynn?" And I'm like, "It's just like me. Please like me for me." But Lynn, now I'm like, you know what? That you invented Lynn, Mel. So they're saying they love you. So they're joining in on the internet that just, let's not take it, so let's not snap.
Yes.
But yeah, Lynn is the one thing that people will come up to me at a shopping centre and recognise me from and say hello. And the range of ages, sexes, sexualities that love Lynn it's vast. It's all over the shop.
As well as Lynn, you've done so much and continue to do so much more in television, in radio, in stand-up. You're in the current Taskmaster. Tell me what that's been like.
Taskmaster was a challenge. It was way harder than I thought it would be because you're given a task and part of your brain goes, yeah, but we're all comedians. We're here to be funny. We're not here to do the task. I mean, who really cares about completing the task? That's not the important bit. The important bit is, come on, say some funny things. But then as soon as you start, your brain is like, well, I'm not going to lose. I'm not going to muck around. I'm going to win. And you get very competitive. It's quite isolating, the filming of the tasks themselves. It's just you for almost all of it, except for there's one day at the end where I worked with Conchetta Caristo on some tasks. But most of it is you by yourself in a field with the crew, and you finish something and then you get no feedback, which for a stand-up is quite hard because we're used to knowing how well we're doing by hearing noises, by hearing laughter, clapping, or silence, I guess. And so you finish your task and you hear silence and you're like, well, was that right? And they don't come up to you and go, yeah, by the way, you nailed that. You actually did get that correct. Nothing. No feedback.
It's like, I need instant gratification. What's going on here?
Correct. Yeah. I need heaps of compliments, lots of hot chips around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I struggled. And also there's a panic that sets in. Because you're timed. You don't have all day to do these tasks. And then you realise sometimes you've gone down a path and you've committed to doing it one way, and then you calm down and read it and like, oh, that's not right at all, but I've committed. I've already made the banner. What am I going to do? But yeah, it is way harder than I thought it would be. I just went in just going, oh yeah, I'll just turn up, and how hard can it be? Really hard is the answer.
Really
Antoinette.
hard. Okay. Harder than the first time you did stand-up?
It's different because the first time you do stand-up, you are very nervous, but the audience is often told that it's the first time you're doing stand-up, and they're quite generous. So I think I had a very perhaps not accurate view of how good I was at stand-up after the first time, because the audience it was the end of a comedy course that I did, like a Monday night, 6 weeks, performance at the end of Family and Friends, and I crushed. I killed. I did so well.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. But it's because it's everyone's family who's done the course, and they're all being supportive, and the host is saying, hey, it's their first time, guys. Let's give them lots of love.
So did you really crush it? Or did you get laughs, supportive laughs?
I didn't know how to read different kinds of laughs back then. So I thought any noise, any sound out of the audience is a win. And now I know there's different kinds of laughs, and you're listening for, are they engaged? Are they actually listening, or are they bored? Is that a shock laugh, a pity laugh, whatever? I think I probably did fine, but in my head I was like, oh boy, you are probably gonna go and be on TV next week, is what I thought in my brain, which is not how it works, of course. But when you turn up to do your second gig, probably to a real audience, that's when your actual ability is registered back to you.
Well, you did go on and do lots of TV and do lots of amazing things. So I'm going to go with the people loved it and you were great. I'm just going to give it to you.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We connected on the gram over a mutual interest of wanting to see more female comedians, or just an interest in wanting to see comedy spaces taken up by not the same kind of people who host 65 shows and get all of the opportunities. I know that's something that you care about, but does it get frustrating to have to be asked it and talk about it? Like, we don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but, speaking about women in comedy, is it something that you still like to talk about and raise awareness about?
I'll talk about it.
Yeah.
So I think, my issue with it is when people think about women in comedy, they look at their local comedy club lineup and they go, oh, no women or only one woman. That's not good enough. That is because, this is only my theory, is because the pool of women is smaller. If you are good, you are more rapidly accelerated up out of doing 5 minutes for $50 at the local comedy club. And you are probably doing a gig for more money that's better. You've escalated yourself up out of the stand-up comedy local club scene more quickly, right? So the problem is then you get to a certain level and boop, there's just a big brick wall that you hit. And you see blokes that you've started with just scoot up multiple levels into highly paid media jobs, TV opportunities, ongoing radio. And you kind of hit a bit of a stop, and you can be a guest on the show. You can come on and be a writer. You can do 1 episode out of 10, but you are not the lead. You are not given your own radio show, your own TV show, whereas there seems to be something that happens in this country where there is a quicker path to these big jobs that we would all love for blokes. Not all blokes, I know. There's lots of blokes who've been doing comedy for 20 plus years and they've also never had these opportunities. So what I get frustrated at is when I see TV shows like we were talking about on the gram where some networks think it is enough to have a female sidekick.
Yes.
That's not enough. It's 2024. I'm sick of being a supporting player. I want my go at hosting my own show, and I'm not the only one. There's I'm not going to say no, but there's lots and lots of other women who are incredibly talented who just seem to get a lot more no's than yeses. And I wonder if the general public is aware of the money involved at this top tier.
Yeah, right.
It's quite life-changing. It's very high. So it's quite frustrating to know that you could, if you were very lucky, slip into one of these jobs for a couple of years and probably just pay your house out.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, that's no doubt.
Yeah,
you know, incredibly. I say, of course, it's incredibly frustrating and speaks to what we know are so many additional barriers that women face in a whole bunch of industries. I want to talk about comedians that are on your radar, people that you've spotted that you'd like other people to look out for, and why. My favourite kind of new-ish, and I hate to say up and coming because she's been doing it for years. She's won awards, but once again, leaping into the sort of the mainstream takes quite a long time. She's probably my favourite comedian who makes me laugh. Her name is Bronwyn Cuss. She is incredibly dry. Okay.
She has this joke that I love about Tina Arena that I have recorded on my phone. I got her to open for me this year in Adelaide, and I just recorded her doing this joke so I can watch it at my leisure.
Oh, I love that.
So she is one to absolutely watch. She's got this. She just does it differently. She comes out and leaves a huge pause, waits for the pause to become awkward, and then starts her set. No, hello, how you going? What's your name? Is it your birthday? She does all the rules of stand-up are kind of broken by Bronwyn in many ways. It's just about the quality of her jokes, which are exceptional. She is sort of a young favourite of mine. Anne Edmonds is so funny. And I don't know why Anne doesn't have a sitcom. I don't know why Anne doesn't have a Netflix special.
Why she doesn't have it all.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It is baffling to me. Anne is, you might know Anne Edmonds from Thank God You're Here. Have you been paying attention? She's on those sorts of shows. Edo, as we call her, just, to me, also the same as Bronwyn, but in a different way, breaks the rules of stand-up, does exactly what she wants, is true to herself. Those are probably my top two that I would recommend.
I love that. And you are currently touring, and the title of your show is something about putting socks on centipedes? Yes,
very long title, isn't it?
How do you put a sock on a centipede?
Well, that's the thing. You can't. Well, it's a nonsense-based, impossible task that would take forever with very little reward. So it's a more PG version of another saying we have about spiders, if you know that one. We're not here to fuck spiders. I'm not sure of what you're allowed to say.
No, we are allowed to
on
say.
a podcast.
No, we are allowed to say that. Right. Okay. So
yeah.
putting socks on centipedes is the children's version.
Yes. So not here to put socks on centipedes is the version you can put on a poster of that saying. So.
And what can people expect from your show?
A lot of centipedes. No,
a lot of socks. A lot of socks.
A lot of socks.
Yeah.
No, it's just a show where I just kind of go off tap and say what I think, which I haven't really done for a few years. It's got a lot of nostalgia in it because I guess the broad theme is I'm kind of comparing the childhood I had to the childhood my son is having, and it's very, very different. And my favourite part of the show that people seem to go quite nuts for is a bit about going to the dump as a child, or you might call it the tip if you're from Melbourne. So it's kind of going into my childhood, his childhood, my childhood, and I talk in the show about the IVF process, how he turned up. You know, it's kind of a show focused around childhood, but also I just say things that I think, whereas I never used to. Because I would worry that someone would go, oh, that's not real. You can't say that. I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's my show. Who cares? Whereas I think I used to do shows to people please a little bit more than I'm currently doing. Yeah.
What changed? What gave you that comfort to be entirely yourself?
I think once my son was born, it's partly you just don't have the time, the mental capacity. You're so tired. But also there's someone else you have to work to pay for now to take care of, and how good his life is dependent on you, kind of. So I was like, well, I need to sort myself out, like therapy-wise, and I don't have time anymore for having an anxiety spiral for 2 days. I've just got to get on and say yes and do these jobs and get this work done and do the show because daycare isn't free. I think that was a bit of a turning point when he was born, but also maybe feeling a bit more comfortable in the industry and feeling like I kind of belong there a little bit more. And seeing it work, that's the other thing. When I'm myself, which in an interesting way is Lynn, when I'm...
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. Yeah, I've put a very vulnerable product up of Lynn, but putting things on the internet still makes me feel a bit nervous. So doing that, it's made people who really like me find me. So I'm like, if you're at my show now, you probably actually really, really want to be here. So why don't I give you the true me, which I think connects a lot better than trying to think of an idea that you think people will like.
Well, I think the true you is excellent, and I would love to hang out at libraries with you any day of the week.
Oh, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'd love a librarian to come and shush us. That would be
that might be the highlight of my day.
Ladies, shh. Oh, sorry.
She started it. Shh. I told you to shh.
I'm not even talking.
So loud. You're always so loud.
Girls, I can hear you from the other end of the library. I'm in non-fiction running a workshop and all I can hear is gossip, gossip, gossip. Ladies, you are free to go outside if you want to talk. Wow, that just comes out, doesn't it?
I'll catch you at your local library. It has been a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you, Antoinette. I love that. That was really nice.
That was great. Oh my gosh. We just went everywhere. We went from deli meats to sexuality shaming to we just went everywhere.
Yeah, there was more talk about mortadella than I expected.
That is it for this episode of The Weekend Briefing. It's a place where we have the opportunity to get to know the interesting and influential people behind the headlines. We want to hear from you. Make sure you leave a comment below, like and subscribe. Catch you next week.